Okay, right now I am about to speak. Alright, so yeah, I just finished my speech. Hopefully it was pretty good. Yeah, it was kind of tough, like I didn't really memorize it. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, now I have to wait for the improv section. Essentially how that works is you have 3 minutes to, think of a speech for a topic, and then you have to deliver a speech that's 2 to 3 minutes long. So I'm just listening to other people speak in here, and then yeah, getting ready for the improv. Just finished my improv speech. It went fairly well, I would say. The topic was schools now are talking about transitioning to an online learning environment permanently. Is this good or bad, and then why? So my argument was that it was bad. I talked about one, like in-person learning is just like better. You have better communication with the teacher. Two, that the friendships that you make allow for better collaboration as well, like projects, homework, studying for quizzes, stuff like that. And then three, I talked about the lack of extracurriculars and sports as well. So I drew in a bit of my personal experiences. And yeah, it was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So better on the middle. I kind of went a bit long on the conclusion, but yeah, I think it was pretty good. So now let's wait and see. I finished the effective speaking competition a little bit earlier, pretty earlier. It's kind of late now at night, and I lost pretty badly. So, how do I deal with that failure? I mean, looking back at how I actually got into this, like what my thought process was, it was to get better at speaking, to, create a speech in a short amount of time. And what my logic was like, what's the downside, right? What do I have to lose? Well, nothing, right? Just a little bit hitting on the ego, which is good. And I get more practice out of it. So that's great. And, live and learn. Definitely kind of tough because I thought I did pretty well. But I mean, we'll see what the feedback is, and definitely I can improve from there. So I think a good analogy for that, though, is what was happening today. So I created a CNN from scratch, convolutional neural network from scratch. Transfer learning, essentially, I'm taking a model that's pre-trained. This was the VGG model, so it was pre-trained on over like 1.3 million images, like various, so like dog, train, car, like whatever, all these images, and I was able to classify them, right? So I'm like, great. So I have this model that's already like pre-trained, and now I'll just feed it like human faces with different emotions, and it'll work, right? Wrong. No, it did not work. It was like the 12% accuracy. I just like dropped out and stuff, and it was not good, not pretty. Essentially, what was happening there is like you take the model, right? It's sequential, has different layers. So like you have an input layer, and then whatever that layer outputs goes to the next layer as input, and then and so on and so forth until you get to the end, where it has the final kind of activation that spits out the probabilities for each of the 8 emotions. In this case, 16 classes, because 8 emotions across male and female. What I was doing, I took the model and I added a couple layers at the end. I took away like the last couple layers, 2 or 3 layers in the VGG model, and added my own. And I was changing the weights and biases of that. That didn't work. It overfit for the training data, and essentially what I decided on last night was to create a CNN from scratch. So creating all the layers, the whole VGG model myself. So I was able to control the dropout, when like to do like max pooling, convolutional layers, all that. And, control the kernel size, things like that. Now it's training, but the thing is it takes a lot longer to train, because with the other one, I'm just, 2 or 3 layers and just running through that. And it took about like 3 hours to do 100 training cycles or epochs. Whereas now I'm still doing 100 epochs, and it's taking about an hour per cycle. So that's like 100 hours. And right now we're like 25 hours through. I'll just show that like right now quickly. You should be able to see that pretty well. And yeah, I'll use this as an analogy for kind of my public speaking, I guess, if that makes sense. So yeah, right now you can see it's taking like 3,700 seconds-ish per cycle. And, an hour is 3,600 seconds, like 60 times 60. So a little bit over an hour for each one. And, it starts off like pretty low accuracy, like 18%, 11%, but it's actually going up, which is really exciting, because before it was not at all. What is a little bit disquieting though is like right here, it's like 12 loss and the accuracy like died. But right here, it's 57%, not bad. And then it's getting up again here, like, it's good, 53%. And we're still training. It's on, 22, 23 out of 100. But I can take this, like if we actually plotted this on a graph, which hopefully I'll do later, is
over time the accuracy is increasing, right? And if we look at this column, the validation set accuracy, it's increasing, decreasing, decreasing. But the overall trend here is increasing over time. So my journey in public speaking, my progress per se, it's not, like a linear kind of progression, like I'm always improving. No, it's with setbacks and things like that. But if we zoom out, that's where we see the real improvement, and that's where, compounding and all that takes effect. So just thought that was a cool analogy, and also a cool look into, training an actual CNN model from scratch. You can see here, like, I was editing a video, so it took like way longer than the rest of the training cycles. So with that, I'm gonna end up the vlog here. It was a pretty good weekend, teacher training, taught my first 2-ish classes. It went pretty well. Effective speaking competition, lost pretty badly, but learning from that, and it's just a little blip on the overall growth trajectory. So really excited for the week ahead. Hopefully the CNN, this new train model works. Like I'm like on the edge of my seat every time. It's like at the end of like the hour, and I'm like, oh, is the validation accuracy gonna be higher? Is it gonna be lower? It's just cool to see, like, after you code something, after you write all that, to see it actually play out. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned.